Okay, real quick, I was laying in bed watching my last video because that's what I do. Thinking about it. And I was talking about this part here. I don't know if I said it yet. I haven't yet, but I might say it later. I at least kind of thought it in my head, but I didn't say it. But now I'm realizing I should have said it if I don't say it later. Is that there was the general concept that there's a current coming out from under Mexico that's hitting resistance from another current over here that's bending up this way. And going up this way, and up this way, and then there's another current coming down here that generally goes over here. But so what I was talking about in the last one was that it was feeding through here, so that they're basically colliding currents, producing eddies. And it occurred to me that the eddies, if I go to this here, or let me find it. I'll just play this real quick. This is like once it's free, here's the polygon free and just freely moving away. So this is like, imagine like Australia is just resting on this like molten but solid slab that's freely moving in the currents. And then it maybe even crumples in resistance to create like the arc to it. I don't know if that happens in a way or if it. This is not the one I was looking for. One of them in here, if I can find it real quick, it rolls into like a galactic looking structure. If I can't find it, I played it in the yin yang video. It's pretty much just a current going through with a space that then has one of these like more solidified chunks on top that's rotating like a gear through the current. So back to here, pretty much when this current's cutting through, it's creating this widening. But then I believe that it is then creating eddies that then form larger chunks that are spiraling in it, just pulling like material off the side. But then they get caught in the overall current this way at some point, like maybe like after they get large enough to get caught in the current. So they tend to be certain sizes depending on the currents. And so then they just kind of get pushed away from like the location of formation with the currents and just moved away. And as this region generally just reforms and reforms with this like just really narrow but strong current coming through. And so I noticed this and I was like, that's kind of odd. I was watching the video, and this is what made me like, okay, I can't not get up. Again, I can't not get up and record this. I was watching the video. I'm like, it really looks like it just abruptly does something here. Like, abruptly. And that's so, like, shallograms. To go to like this one, like it starts fracturing, although that's down here. But up here, regardless, it's fracturing, and then it begins to widen like abruptly, but then like fill in with basaltic material maybe in a way where like an ocean is formed between. So then what we see is the resultant widening. But here's what's really exciting is like I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I was literally saying, like, trying to follow this current. Like, where's it go? Where's it go? It comes down here. I noticed it creates these eddies, which these eddies really do affirm that there's a cross current coming through this way. across the general larger current coming along up the coast. And so it's producing eddies along the way as it goes that are generally centered on it. And then here, it goes down here and goes out this way. And this is, and I noticed, wait a minute, it goes out this way. So this one goes out this way, but I also was pointing out it also seems to go down here and down here, down here, down here. This looks kind of like a tooth or something. Maybe this looks even like a tooth, I don't know. So what I'm getting at is I think that like right here when this crack reached this point, it like nova'd enough to begin to spark, like then this nova, like then this stretch just like faulted cleanly away pretty much when this like this nova, this region was filling with novas enough to then like propagate ripples through the layer over here energetically to like destabilize this, and it then nova'd, which then it continued to propagate energy through to the next one, and it then nova'd through to this one, and it then nova'd. So they even look like they might be in a line right down, like right even down here from here. And then even the other one then right here, this, maybe that, I don't know. But I was thinking more of that, but maybe not that. Because this is more in line. I'm not sure. Like this maybe this is connected to back here. So it was also this is the current maybe maybe going into this side of Australia, which was also going through actually from here, maybe. So like there was a current that wrapped around here and through the like ammonite shell feature and wrapped around here and maybe just into Australia, which maybe would make sense for some ammonite features there. But maybe it like continued to propagate in a similar way, producing because essentially that's kind of out to this distance-ish. Like if this is here, this is like the previous coastline, like Costa Rica. Costa Rica maybe is a good one to reference when I say this position, or maybe this location is the actual bond. Now that I see it, this here maybe is representative of like where this energy was coming out, and initially into South America, but then when it moved, when the bond broke, it moved over here. Or maybe actually, because this is a straight line, it's strongly suggestive of an intense current. Maybe what happened is the bond broke down this line, which then ran into this position, like down there, and that's where that beam's coming from. That's over here, though, I think, or even over here. That's not really... Essentially, I'm I believe that this is the shallogram opening, and at some point it abruptly started to open by these like nodes novaing, chain reaction novas propagating outwardly. Maybe around here it started to propagate inwardly. Like reabsorb the energy. Maybe even playing into why this portion of the Andes is so weird and like inverse. But for sure the energy's coming in this way at some point. So it must be like it must be the same thing where that current is cutting across, just all the way across. Like initially it starts coming through here and it continues to go through here. So let's see if there's some traces of it over here and that are still visible. Maybe like here. This might be it kind of going down the coastline. Or also mimicked there, but here. Maybe here. Or there. Maybe here. After here, it's hard to say, but maybe even that, I don't know. That's actually probably, that probably is, like this is probably like the west. I don't know, I might be. No, I don't know, I don't know. I'm just wishful thinking maybe that is representative of it over here. Where would it have to connect? It would have to basically reappear in the rock record. Somewhere connected to this? I don't know, maybe let's follow this. That goes that way. This is when it's really widening between Australia and Antarctica. Pardon me. Oh, this one. Widening between Australia and Antarctica, so it must be here widening. Which is the current coming from under Mexico. This current is coming from under Mexico, I guess, here. This makes sense because it's running, that's where it's kind of just going up this way. So this must be, this region must be actually representative of it. Here's the boundary. This isn't actually, I've been kind of saying this is the corner of Australia, but maybe this is the actual boundary of Australia down here. Or maybe it's multiple imprints at different times. But where like this region is this region. It has flows going in there, flows going in there, kind of looking like a cross, looking like a seashell. This probably is, it almost looks like we can see, now that I look at it, one of those like ripples of like a double helix, or just like a spiraling energy down this way. That's focusedly going right down this though, where I'm mousing over. Which then reaches the end of where it opens to. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so, quite so, that this is going, sending energy through here, causing novas that start off small and not enough to open this, to actually open the ocean floor that was forming, because it's still molten, but like this, just more solid than the current going through. That's just hot and like a lot of current, and it's just creating a space, I guess. And so that means like probably at some point this current's just feeding through, just continuously feeding through, and then threading through here, maybe just underneath the current in a less surface current detectable way. Like here, along, although that's hard to say which way it went. Because it kind of seems like this continues here. Really, continues to there. 128.26. Am I too far? Oh. Where was I just looking? Continues to there. Yeah, 128.26. Okay, I'm looking. Seemingly over here. So, like, it goes this way. As an undercurrent, maybe? I feel like this is all after it starts filling, though, so it's really... It maybe just flows along the boundary of Australia? Or some boundary here? Maybe here, even? I don't know why how it would get there, but... It does look like the current kind of goes out to here. So that's probably, though, when this region is just over top it, essentially. Like when that's actually adjacent to the... And it's just got a current going adjacent to it for at least a short while, so maybe that's what it is as the current passed through here, it caused a nova here that really pushed Australia out away, and Baja California, or Papua New Guinea. Oh, I'm tired. I was in bed. I just realized the opening of the shallogram looks like right there. But then I think the current keeps going through, 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 and then it reduces and gets over here, and then essentially is absorbed into the system and produces a shock wave, separates these two continents. I guess maybe the energy all continues through here. I don't even know if it does. That might just connect through to go through here. That would be crazy if it goes. Like if the Dwarka current going any way this way goes down here along this general region, but then the other one through here, that'd be crazy if this one goes like this. I haven't really thought about this region, and then goes up here, cuts across here, and then specifically feeds into the East African Rift. I keep feeling like it's impossible to arrive at a final conclusion of like how this works. But I mean, it is infinite. Just imagine sooner or later it will be like sufficiently close to be useful beyond just interesting. Certainly, if the world were to simply account for this, it would be useful. Because that would be many people accounting for this and not just me. It's simply impossible with one person, really. Impossible, impossible. Pardon me. Okay, I gotta get to sleep. So, in conclusion, there was a current that came this way, somehow propagated through here in a more cleanly fashion under the, I guess, where it didn't like flow at the surface level enough to separate them and just begin to create turbulence in some way to knock it out of sync, so it stayed more cleanly in this region until the undercurrents started to upwell here because of just pressure, and it needed to bubble to the surface again, and it bubbled up to the surface, the heat and energy, which then broke the bond here with the eddies forming because of the cross currents. And then it continued upward again, did the same again here. Sorry, same again here. And then it started to, in some way, lose its energy. Maybe do the same again here, though. But ultimately by, like, partial ones that sort of look like one, but maybe are one with many components. Almost like not a hydrogen atom. Like, this is more like hydrogen, where it's just like a single ring and a line across bubble type of bubble, where this bubble down here has a lot more like segments. So it's kind of like a fraction of one. So it's not a complete one. So it's a segment of one. So like hydrogen is actually the last complete unit of something, and then it begins to separate into more complex things, but that has just more, it's more complex because there's more to it. And so it begins to have more mass, but it's still like a less than a single, like, more complete thing that's just a divided down the middle. So it just begins to become more fragmented, and then again more fragmented over here, to the point where it just closes up and stuff and stuff. In conclusion, and stuff.